tell other people, and you'll get more business that way. And she was right. I've never made a cold call to this day. I've always stayed laser focused on making sure whatever I'm asked to do, I do more.
Well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And of course, you have this whole other life as president of the Florida Speakers Association. So, FSA is a part of NSA, which is the National Speakers Association. And I had the honor and privilege of serving as president as well. So, it's an organization that is very dear to my heart. But tell our listeners about FSA, and then also tell them some good sources if people are looking to build their speaking skills, because speaking is one of the key factors in being successful in business. You're going to have to make a presentation, whether it's at the local chamber or at a Rotary or just even a one-on-one, making a presentation of what your services and your products are. So you need to be able to speak in an authoritative but sincere way. And it's very important for people to have that speaking ability, because you never know when you're going to have to stand up and say something. So tell us a little bit about FSA, and tell us about where you would suggest they go to help build their speaking skills.
Okay. Well, I am honored to be the current president of the Florida Speakers Association, and so delighted, and to all the listeners, honored to know Dr. Carson, because she is one of our original presidents and set the vision and foundation for why we have become an amazing organization today. We are the local chapter of the National Speakers Association, which is the premier organization for professional speakers. And when I say professional speakers, that has changed a lot as well today. That includes people who make a living conducting or delivering keynotes. It's trainers, educators, humorists, motivators. We have consultants, authors, and a whole host of business experts who are members. Our mission is to provide exceptional educational experiences that are designed to advance platform skills. And ultimately, our goal is to help the Florida Speakers Association members grow their speaking business. So it's really all about learning the craft of speaking and the business skills necessary to grow a speaking business. The Florida Speakers Association also has an opportunity for people who are not quite yet professional speakers. We have a Speakers Academy. It's taught by best-in-class faculty members who have all excelled in the professional speaking arena. And I would encourage your listeners to go to floridaspeakers.org to get information about our programs, which will be starting in the fall of this year in September. We do have some great sources of information for speakers. If you go on the National Speakers Association website, they have a couple of books, one called Paid to Speak, and it's available online. I had the honor of submitting a chapter on ethics in speaking, which is very important. And the book is a really great, quick read on all types of aspects related to the speaking business. But for your listeners who are out there making presentations, I think the most important thing is when you're getting ready to make a speech or thinking about a speech you have to deliver, think about the audience. It's not about the speaker. Now, you said people are fearful to speak, and I think on the list of fears, speaking is number 1 and death is 5. So people would rather die than public speak. But if you plan, if you rehearse, if you feel confident about the topic you're speaking about, usually it lands well. I think a real good trick is for people to write down their stories. We all have stories, and we've all sat in meetings where people are sharing charts and all kinds of information that we forget very easily. But when you share stories to drive home a point, people will remember those stories. And I think that's a real important point for your readers to remember.
Well, that's true. I can't tell you how important it is, and how being able to stand up and speak my piece has furthered me in business. And that's the key. I just went to a program where and this is again the way you present yourself. There were 150 people in the room, and the person was looking for one person to do a hot seat with. And all these hands shot up, and I got picked. I got picked.
Wonderful.
And it was absolutely shattering and changing to me. It was just wonderful what I got out of that. But you are very busy, Rita. You've got your business. You're president of the FSA. What do you do for fun?
Well, I don't sleep, that's for sure.
Well, now that's really important. They say you need your 8 hours of sleep a night, although I know some people who seem to get by well on 3 or 4. So,
Well, I like the millennials and belong. I love this term I recently came to know, and that's leisure time. They've taken work and leisure all together and say it's all about leisure time. Actually, there's 3 things I do a lot of when I'm not focused on work, and that is I love to travel. I think exploring and learning about new cultures and foods and experiences is just brings such richness to life. I happen to be a collector of hearts, not only people's hearts, but I collect hearts. So I have all kinds of items that have hearts on it. And then finally, I love the game of golf. I have a son who's actually an assistant golf pro, picked up the game at an early age, and it's been a family experience for all of us and a peaceful one. People in the golf industry are great. It's a lot of fun. The courses are beautiful. So that's what I like to do when I'm not busy working. But let me just be quick to say, I really think work is fun. I mentioned early on, I'm blessed that I do what I love, and I don't find it to be work. I'm hungry for information, and it's really a pleasure to be able to do that. I find myself having to shut it off because I love it so much. It's hard to stop developing speeches or thinking about new strategies to help a company become more successful.
and that, of course, is the key. And that's why when people ask me, well, Gail, aren't you ever going to retire? Or aren't you ever going to slow down? And I keep saying, why? Because I do all the things I love anyway. I mean, I live in 3 wonderful places. I have my wonderful pets. I have my family. And I love what I do. Every single day I get up and do it with joy. So I find, and maybe as an HR professional, you found this too, many people want to retire. Some have to because of the regulations in their companies. But most people want to retire because they're really unhappy doing what they do. They don't love what they do every single day. And I think that's what an entrepreneur does. An entrepreneur is someone who loves what they do. They get excited about what they do. And they have control over what they do. And if they don't like it, they can always change it or stop doing it or do something else along with it. So let's first of all tell people how they can find you, Rita. What is your website?
It's toptierleadership.com.
So that's TOPTIERLEADERSHIP.com, toptierleadership.com. And there you can find out all about Rita's all her abilities, all her programs, her products, her resources, everything that she has to offer. And if you are interested in learning more about speaking, if you are somewhere other than in Florida, you can go to nsaspeaker.org. And if you're in Florida, you can go to fsaspeaker.org. Is that correct?
It would be the floridaspeakers.org.
Floridaspeakers.org. Fantastic. Well, this has been fabulous, Rita, and I want to thank everybody for listening to Women in Business, the show that brings you women entrepreneurs and senior managers. I hope you enjoyed our show today, and I invite you to connect with me on Facebook and Twitter, and be sure to download my book, Life Lessons from an SOB, on my website, spunkyoldbroad.com, where you can find information on my speeches, coaching, and resources. Or you can email me at Gail, that's Gayle, Carson13 at gmail.com. I want to thank you, Rita, again for being my guest today. I want to thank everybody for listening to Women in Business, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you so much.